Alright, hey, I apologize for that interruption, but apparently my phone does not like calculus because it shut off on me in the middle of that video. So actually from here on out, I'll have everything already written out. Okay, so this was the last equation that I left you with. I got this equation by combining... Oh, I didn't combine anything. I just took this one from right here, and now I have this and these two. So that means that now I have two equations with three variables. So I could manipulate them so that one of these variables is in the same amount in both equations. Combine them, and it'll give me one equation, which is what I did. It's just that neither one of these needed manipulating. The equation it gave me was negative 4a minus b equals negative 6. Alright, so now I have an equation with only two variables, which is easier to work with. Okay, negative 4a minus b equals negative 6. And then another one that I have is negative 9a minus 2b. And I got that one by actually combining this one and this one. So if you subtract this equation from this equation, you'll end up with negative 9a minus 2b equals negative 15, which gives you another equation with only two variables. Well, we're going to do the same thing that we did before, except this time we have this equation and this equation. Well, none of the variables match up here, so if you added them together, you'd still end up with an a and a b. So you manipulate this one by multiplying this whole thing, the left and the right side of the equal sign, by 2, and it gives you negative 8a minus 2b equals negative 12. So now the b's are present in the same amount, and if you subtract negative 8a minus 2b equals negative 12 from negative 9a minus 2b equals negative 15, these two will cancel, and you'll end up with a equals 3. Which means that you just found one of your variables, and now that you have all these equations that only have one variable in them, two variables, three variables, and four variables, you can work your way up, like from right here. I took the equation 4a minus b equals negative 6, and I plugged in this 3 that we now have for a, and it gave me negative 12 minus b equals negative 6, which means that negative b equals 6. Swap the signs, b equals negative 6. Okay, now we have two variables. And you keep working up. You use another equation that now has three variables to find c, and the one that I actually used was this one right here, 3a plus 2b plus c equals 3. But you could use any equation that had these three variables in them that we've managed to come up with. When you plug in a, 3a, you end up with 9. 2b, you plug in negative 6 for the b, and you end up with negative 12, plus c equals 3. Alright. You move the 9 over here. You have negative 6 equals negative 12 plus c. You end up with c equals 6. Okay. To finish it off, we'll plug in all three of those variables in one more equation to find d, and then we'll have all of our variables. Now you can plug them into any of these that have a, b, c, and d in them, but this is the simplest one because it's just there are no coefficients. It's a plus b plus c plus d equals 0. That's the one I chose to do. A is 3, b is negative 6, as I've written up here. C is 6, and we don't know d yet. But when you solve for this, these two cancel, and you end up with d equals negative 3. Okay. Now you've got all of your variables, which means that the final equation we'll just have all those variables plugged into it. And this was our original equation. We had to solve for the coefficients of x and this d here. And we came up with these numbers. So you plug them back in, and you have 3x cubed plus negative 6x squared minus 6x plus negative 3, or just minus 3. And that is your answer. Once again, I'm sorry for the interruption between the two videos, but my phone died.